This is the Let's Unpack That podcast. I'm your host, Lyall Behrens. Episode, I don't know, but that doesn't matter. We're here live from downtown LA. We got Matt Duckett.
Yo. Live
We
at
got
Pod
DJ
Access
Illinois.
Stereos.
We got Danny and we got Brandon. The gang's back.
Full
Gang's
force.
back. This feels good.
Doing it, baby.
This feels good. So
Hollywood like you should.
Right. I'm right where the fuck I belong. Could I tell you, even though I was like only in the Bay Area for 2 months, like just being back in LA, I'm having to get used to like people.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like Bay Area people and LA people in terms of, cause it's like people I know. I'm like, all right, this is Ralph and that's Jacob and this is this person, this is that person. But in terms of like, okay, I was in my building and it's like a nice building, and I'm down there to do laundry, and it was like this blonde lady who's she got like a neck tattoo. She's wearing sweats, but you ever see like women wearing like sweats around like the building? You just kind of like, yeah, I bet you look good with that shit off. You know what I mean? Okay, yeah, let me put it like this.
Well, I mean, that's, there's a reason why for a decade the most popular sweatpants read juicy on the ass part of it,
Facts.
It's meant to create an illusion of ass.
It wasn't that though. It was like down towards the whatever. I'm not gonna perv too hard up front because I got plenty of perving later. It's gonna be scheduled. But I'm saying it's like, you ever see? It's like, okay, like you're a hooper. You ever see like a 17-year-old boy and just think like, man, I bet I know this nigga's vertical.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like I see women in that like as a perv scout. That's
you got white socks and slides on. I know that you've got at least 35 inches on that thing.
Exactly. It's good for the feet. So I'm just saying, I see like a V shape on a woman, and hey. So anyways, I'm in there, and this is how like not used to LA women I am after like 2 months, because like in the Bay Area, even like the bartenders are fucking rude. Like, it's like, what the fuck do you want? So she's like, oh, hey, how's it going? And like, I'm like, man, my personality should have been like more up. I was like, I felt like Russell Westbrook. Like, and then she's like, yeah, it takes a long time. I've been in this building for 10 years. What's your name? And I'm like, Lyle. She's like, Wild? I like that. I'm like, no, Lyle. Oh, well, I was going to say, if your name was Wild, hello. And I was like, yo! And I was like, and I pictured like Ralph, if Ralph was there, and he's like, you fucking up, sir. And then I said to her, I was like, I was going to have a drink while I wait for my clothes out in the courtyard. And she's like, oh, I'd love to, but I just had some Botox. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, LA.
I know, yeah. I'm like,
friendliness and Botox. So you can't read the friendliness in their face. You have to really listen to what they're saying.
It's got to be like in the voice?
Yeah, because
okay.
we can't emote down here. It's not possible.
What was your first like, oh, I'm fucking with LA bitches moment? Because you've had LA and Bay Area women.
Yeah, the thing is that I was single in LA for a very brief period of time. It was right before the pandemic started. So like January until the lockdown, and then I started to see my girlfriend in June of that year. So like I wasn't as much of a crazy person as one would want to be, but yeah, I would.
You calling fucking bitches a crazy person? Like, oh, you got all this pussy. He's a crazy person.
No, but you know what I mean. Like when you're like fresh off of like a long-term relationship and you just want to go sicko mode. Like
yes,
yeah. So I wasn't exactly able to. I went sickish mode. I would say.
Yeah, a little cough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, no. I mean, it's definitely different. Where it's like, I think both cities are casual, but LA is like a different kind of casual. LA is like people in LA. People will have sex with you before they figure out if they like you or not.
And how is it in the Bay?
It's more, people are spiritual.
Yo, like nothing like screams horse shit to me. Like when a girl starts talking about being spiritual, I'm not really religious. I'm spiritual. Like,
yeah, just You know, I don't. You can read tarot cards. Just say you read tarot cards. Don't. Straight to the point. Be real about it.
Whenever a girl like tells me some shit like, I'm just kind of more free flowing, I'm like, oh, this bitch is gonna stand me up on some dates.
Yeah. That is a key sign that yep. And then propose like, what if we did like Wednesday at 4? It's like, what do you do where you are free at that time? Nobody is free Wednesday at 4 p.m. Nobody.
Nothing like the Wednesday at 4 p.m. screams to me, yeah, I got other dick I'm interested in more.
Yeah. Wednesday, that's a she got her Wednesday night plans canceled.
Yeah, and then you gotta like double down and be like, bitch, how about Thursday at 12?
Yeah.
a.m.
It's all a numbers game.
It really is.
Yeah, it's really LA is really like a casting a net and just kind of reeling in, I guess, type of situation because there's so many people. And there's a bunch of single people, but yeah, it's just like, it's like interviewing for a job. It's like you put in 99 Bumble matches and 2 people you actually see in person.
So I got a dilemma, right? It's not really a dilemma, but I just want to share this because content. So I'm performing in the Bahamas for 2 weeks in March, and I got thank you.
Round of applause from the producers. We love to see it. Thanks for inviting me to open.
You know how it is in the beginning when you do a gig, Matt.
I'm aware.
There have been so many gigs I've tried to get you to come to, by the way, to like open for me.
That's
and
true.
Then you've been like, oh, I'm sorry. Grace has a recital.
It's never been an excuse, but fair enough.
It's like
We were supposed to do that casino in NorCal, and then the pandemic hit. That was going to be like we're going to start doing this on the reg thing.
that was gonna be our first. I'm working on some other stuff.
Yeah, but you're in the Bahamas for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so
Get your island boy on.
We say that again.
Getting your island boy on.
Oh man, yo, all right. As a nigga, I hate to say this, but it's like that shit did kind of slap. Like I was like, if you gave that to like the Weeknd or something,
say what you want about the hair and the tattoos and the appearance. That's a good melody. That's solid song structure.
It was. Like I was like, I'm an island coon.
Yeah.
From the womb to the coon.
There'll be an episode of that on Song Exploder. Like it's pretty solid.
So I got a text from the comic I'm doing with it. He texted me, the Bahamas can get lonely. So if you have a young lady you can invite down to keep you company, I would strongly advise you invite someone. Cause like the Bahamas, like even though like it's dope, clear waters, and I'm gonna be at the Atlantis and water slides. At the same time, it's like families and shit, and it's there.
It's
for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's a vacation spot. It's like a romantic getaway spot, not like a come and fuck type of atmosphere.
Yeah.
What is it? What would be like? What cities, be them international or not, are like a hey, come here and fuck?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, so I'm gonna have to say Santa Barbara.
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
Go Gauchos.
Yes. Santa Barbara. But up until like now that I'm like 31, I'm like, I don't know if I could just fuck like that in Santa Barbara. I could do that when I was like performing and it was like I was fucking like seniors there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I could do that the same way now.
Right. Yeah. People still in school at this point for me. I'm like, I can't really.
Yeah, like I'll fuck a CC transfer. I had me a few like Barry community college transfers down to Santa Barbara. Like, hey, daddy's coming. You get to eat at the good restaurant now that I'm here.
I don't even know. There are good restaurants. There are some flex restaurants on State Street.
We went to them, man.
No, you gotta show up and ball out. Santa Barbara, yeah, you can do that in Santa Barbara.
I'll tell you, I felt like, okay, did you see Love Don't Cost a Thing?
No.
All right, it doesn't matter.
I know what it is, but I haven't.
Okay,
it's a pretty biracial thing to say. I know what that is, but I have not partaken.
Okay, well, it's about to go to basketball, so
and then element of the
yeah. So in the movie, basically, Nick Cannon is fucking with Christina Milian and blah, 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 like, hey, I'll fix your car, and then I can be popular. Anyways, Christina Milian's got this boyfriend that apparently plays in the pros or college or something. Then when he comes back home, all the girls are like, oh shit, he got money and everything.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel like when I pull up on them. Because certain cities in California, I do shows and I'd have like a little community college transfer. And like,
there you go.
You at the big university and I'm doing a big comedy show.
Yeah, meanwhile, you're just like in the history lecture hall. It's like...
Anyway, so Santa Barbara. Portland.
I can see that for sure.
Portland. Vegas is like too, like if you take out the prostitution and like with Vegas, I feel to get laid there, you gotta be like in the Illa lifestyle where it's like you gotta be at the pool, you gotta like come with a group. Like I feel like you can't just pull up in Vegas like I'm a fuck. Like,
right, yeah.
You know, like we're talking about places where you can wear joggers during the day and then put on like a nice outfit and then
So exactly.
I don't know why, but I feel like Austin.
Yeah, I feel like
you can probably go to Austin.
Yeah, I think so.
Miami, you can't because everybody's just trying to fuck.
Yeah. Miami's akin to, I guess, Vegas in that respect.
Do any of y'all, Brandon, Danny, do you guys have any answers on that? Where it's like, oh, you can just go to the city and the likelihood of fucking is good. All the Hotep homies tell me Brazil. They're like, nigga, if you go to Brazil, and then
you would think the Hoteps would be opposed to a place like Brazil with the degree of race mixing that is occurring.
Yeah, okay.
But it's like the conservative congressmen who are like, we're gonna ban gay people, but they're like fucking dudes in like their office, you know? That's the Hotep relationship to South America.
Yeah, well, I mean, well, it's funny because it's like niggas, like Hotep niggas, when it comes to that shit, they'll like make deals with themselves. They'll be like, nah, but see, it's originally from Africa anyway, so it's like it's so modest. Right. Yeah, she got straight hair and blue eyes, but I'm saying it's still African lineage, man.
It's like how the Nation of Islam would like rob people to fund like their food programs.
Yeah, or like how Fat Joe justifies he can say nigga.
Yeah,
like,
it's for the greater good. It's for the greater good of our people. At least that's what Fat Joe tells himself when he's licking the soles of a Jordan 3.
We all from Africa, you know.
Did you see? Because every like 3 years, someone's like, "Why do we let Fat Joe say that?" Last year, someone like brought it up to him directly, and this was the exact quote that he said. He said, "Frankly, I do not know how to stop saying." I cannot say I have nigga Tourette's. Like, oh God, it killed me, dude.
That's like the first answer I can actually accept. As somebody that has the same problem.
Completely honest about it. Because
look, man, all that like the Cuban, Puerto Rican slave. Every time Jennifer Lopez or Fat Joe says nigga, we start like going through Caribbean slave trade routes. And like, well, technically they're dropped off here, and that's why they got asses and noses like that. And I'm like, come on. Like,
listen, we have the technology now. If you are Puerto Rican of Caribbean Latino descent and you want to say the N-word, take the 23andMe, and if you're above 25%, then we'll consider it.
That's not bad. I like that.
Yeah, we have the ability to vet, to vet this process out, man.
Brandon, Danny, do any of y'all got any more for the cities that are like easy to fuck in as a regular visitor? Fuck you, Brandon. Like that's because like you do like karate and shit though, and, like. But you got that deep ass voice, and like, I'm good in the city. Like, we're talking about for regular niggas. See, that's like, Danny, come on, let me. Yeah. A major urban cities. Okay. Blue cities.
Yeah.
Blue cities.
Yeah.
Okay, Democratic cities.
Oh yeah, I bet you could do work in Birmingham, Alabama.
I knew I shouldn't have asked this martial arts Trey Songz looking nigga.
I feel that's the real one. I bet the real good place is the blue city in the red state.
Oh, so that'd be Austin.
Yep. Austin, like Denver.
Oh, I hear Denver's good for work. Denver's good for work.
Yeah, whatever's in South Carolina. Could I tell you a city? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
New York. Yeah.
New York is like the bluest state.
No, but I'm just saying, like, if you're in New York City.
Oh yeah, I mean,
is that? I thought New York was blue.
No, New York is blue as shit.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's obviously, you go out to like Albany and stuff. People are like,
Buffalo. It'll get a little
little dicey because
you'll hear some things you don't want to hear. So, on that note, Mike, what's his name?
Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel, new coach of the.
Speaking of blue cities in a red state, Miami coach of the Miami Dolphins. Mike McDaniel,
new coach of the Miami Dolphins, was at a press conference and basically said, well, my dad is black, but I identify as a human being. It's weird when people ask that. And then he doubled down on that and said, I am, what did he say, Matt?
Well, it was so that, obviously with everything that's going on in the NFL right now, like, we don't have enough black head coaches. What is so hilarious about it is that, like, this dude, despite being biracial, was so unprepared for somebody to be like, hey, you know how this team's getting sued by a black guy for firing him because he's black? How do you feel as a black guy getting hired now? Like, the most obvious question, and he's just, just like, it really looked like you were just watching the quiet kid have to give a book report in 4th grade, where it's like, teacher, this kid's out of his like, the report is good, the written word is good, but he's just not going to present it in a way, and he's going to get a B- when he should have got. If you just let it alone, he would have gotten an A. But yeah, it was bad. So it was there's a lot of talk about what people like identify as, and I identify as a human being. And my dad's black. Like that.
The Dolphins front office was like, nigga, you had one job. We trying to clean up this lawsuit, and you had to come in here
with the human race line.
It's like, say that shit when the aliens take over, nigga.
We are all one. Yeah, that's my point. It's like, I identify as a human being. Yeah, is that the circle you filled out in your college application, buddy? You went to Yale, I think. I think that personal statement might be a little different than that, man.
So I do want to unpack, though, how a guy like Mike, obviously we don't know anything about Mike, he's just a coach.
Yep.
But I want to unpack how a guy like Mike kind of comes to be. How do you have a black dad and you end up saying shit like that?
Right. Yeah.
I do think it's like the absence of black women, because it's like, black women do help keep you, like, there's certain shit I just won't say in here because the black women and the black women in my family listen to this shit, and there's certain stuff they're like they come to me and like, that white boy's very out of pocket. I'm like, for the last time, Matt's black, but just that alone is certain shit. I'm like, okay, because black women help keep you grounded.
Yeah.
And because there's nothing like the judgment of a black woman that'll just make you.
Crush your soul.
Yeah.
Just completely decimate you. There's a reason why my mom doesn't let me see them.
Matt's been through enough.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's definitely a thing there. But I'm like, what is the dad doing? Do you think his guys like that? Because it's like, we've met biracial niggas like that, where they're like, I mean, that's just weird. Like, why would you ask me that? Like, I get it from and let me just say, as somebody that looks Samoan when my weight's up and Dominican when my weight's down, is I get tired of the whole like. So what are you? What's your like? I was doing a show one time. You know Clayton Thomas?
Yeah.
All right, so doing the show, and then like backstage chilling, and then he just comes up to me. He's like, "What ethnicity are you?" I'm like, "Nigga, you trying to fuck? Like, why you fucking,
Yeah, what is the
like, why you open it like that?"
Yeah.
You know? Like,
you can't cold open with that anymore, guys. That's a 2002 opener to the ambiguous man.
yeah, it was like 2015. And like if a woman asks me some shit like that, I'm like, I think she might want to fuck me. And I'm like, I was like, okay, well you have to Venmo me $5 if you're gonna ask. I can ask a lot.
Yeah, guess, and if you guess wrong, pay me money. That's always a good approach.
I just say like, well, I'm half bad, half bitch. Like I just say,
there you go.
It's real flirty.
Identify as half man. Yeah, no, it's interesting because I talked with my dad about it on the phone because as a half
ambiguous,
black, as an ambiguous half black dude. Who probably had a pretty similar experience growing up as Mike McDaniel, at least in a similar environment, I would assume. I was kind of blown away by that, by what he said, because for me it was the exact opposite. It was drilled into my head by my dad and by my mom, honestly, despite her caucasity, that myself and my brother, that like, yo, you are black, and that is how we see you. That's how we want you to see yourself, and that's how the world is going to see you. And that's absolutely true. I mean, growing up for me, there was never any like, oh, like you look white, so we're not gonna like, we're gonna pretend that you're not like black or whatever. It was always like, yeah, Sean and Matt are the black kids at the school, and that came with a lot of prejudice. So I'm surprised, I guess, in a way, that because he also said that he really hasn't experienced racism that I guess you would associate as being directed towards a black man. And so that's the thing. It's like, yeah, it was hilarious that he just completely shit himself in that interview. But it's like, all right, I can understand the logic of how you arrive to the "we are all one" conclusion if you didn't have if you personally feel like you didn't have exactly what is like the black experience. That being said, like, obviously I haven't had, I would never say that I've had like the same experience as like, a person who doesn't have a white ass mom.
Yeah.
But like there were things that it was like, people saw me as a black person. So it's interesting, and I am interested. And the other part about it, we don't know like how much his dad was even like around, I guess. Like we don't know what their relationship is. So it's hard to know, like, we don't know what he instilled, but obviously not enough. McDaniel.
I mean,
so
just to say some goofy shit like that out loud.
I would absolutely hate to enforce my own idea of like what somebody should feel they are or identify as, because I've had that experience as well. And it's like, people should be able to form their own opinions about themselves and their identities and that sort of thing. But it is very strange coming from like the same test case and having basically a completely different output than him.
How much is this also like, do you think, a football thing? Because I noticed the NBA, because it's like the NBA. Like you got a joke about it where you like, we was watching basketball. My mom was like, "Where did all these light skinned brothers come from?" And it's a good joke. And it's true. And it's like, even like the stereotype, like, oh, light skinned brothers just be shooting threes. It's like, nigga, Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine can dunk. It's like you have a good sample size of light skin and biracial, or like off biracial, like Steph Curry.
Yeah. Off biracial.
In the league. And like they don't say goofy shit out loud. I notice. Even if they, like, Kyle Kuzma identifies himself as the biracial kid from the hood.
Yeah.
The Ball Boys are like straight up coons. I don't like the Ball Boys. They're not even half black and half white. They're half coon and half white.
Yeah. They're a different breed. They're a different breed of half black cat. Those guys. I mean, with the dad as Buck Wild though, it's like all right. I see where this comes from. Yeah,
but I noticed like UFC, football, especially sports where CTE is involved. But then even when it's something like golf and Tiger and shit like that, I hear like a lot of these biracial and even full on black men say kind of more coon shit than like NBA. Probably like Charles Barkley is like just the only outlier in that where it's. But then at the same time, I look at a guy like Charles and like let's look at Charles Barkley. He's a guy where he had the shit where he said about cops and it's like. First of all, black man, you need to listen to police. And like it was that, and then Kenny proved to you that it's like, okay, like Kenny's still like neighborhood, and then he like set Charles straight about some things. And then but anyways, I look at a guy like Charles and it's like, okay, he's a guy in Alabama, but he's a guy that grew up in Alabama. White people kissed his ass up until he was, in the league. And then they kissed his ass in Philly, where white people in Philly are known to be difficult. And he lived in Arizona, where, another red state. And so all his life, we're like the most conservative white people were kissing his ass because he is who he is. And then he said like he was a Republican up until Barack Obama. And I look at a guy like that in the way that he thinks. And I'm like, okay, if you're in these spaces where white people are always nice to you.
Yeah. And that might have been Mike's experience. It's just, not that he has to divulge like what that is, but it's just interesting because again, I can kind of, I can gauge just based on, I guess, how he comes off that our experiences are similar. And I was not in a place where white people were always nice to me, despite being in conservative spaces and, not looking the part of like your typical black dude. But yeah, it's tough because it's like you want people to root for the home team. I'm not saying that he had to fucking come up to the stand and start dropping Drake lyrics on people and shit. But it's just like, yeah. So he came out with the thing was like, yeah, I'm biracial and like I'm proud of that heritage today. But it's like
it's biracial heritage though. Because like it just starts with you. Like is that heritage?
Yeah. It's weird, but it's like, well, why didn't you just say that in the first place, dog? Like you don't. Well,
because he got the pressure, but he's like, I am in no way, shape, or form involved in any niggerdom. Like,
yeah. That was exactly. I think, he was really playing both. He was really playing both sides
of the fence.
Of the fence. Yeah, I guess he doesn't. The racial draft lottery hasn't happened yet, so he's like, I can't commit one way or the other.
I mean, the reason why it's like, okay, like to Matt's point, because Matt's like a guy where, the world is like, you're white, you're black, I don't know what you are. And I'm somebody where the world was like, you black, you a nigga. And for me, from a selfish standpoint, I got this thing where I'm like, the world's going to give you your nigga card. And OJ Made in America documentary, they're talking about when OJ got out, and his manager that stayed with him for some time, he said, and he pulled some Joe Rogan shit in the documentary. He said, white America would tell me, man, black people would tell me, white America will be so quick to zip up your nigger suit. I was like, wow, you had no trouble saying that.
Yeah, right.
But it's true. It's fucking true. So my thing is like, I think there's always a nigga wake up call. Yes. And I'm like, he's going to be involved with some woman as the coach of Miami. He's going to be on his fucking Any Given Sunday Al Pacino shit where he's like with a bitch. He's out drinking, having a good time, being the toast of the town. He's probably getting fucked up with Eric Spoelstra and Udonis Haslem, and they're at some cigar bar. He gets a DUI and caught with another woman, and oh shit, like the NFL is treating him like a nigga, like he's disposable. And I mean, that's why it's like,
and I think that edge. I think that's part of why he got caught off guard in the press conference. We live in society in general. It's like, we're very astutely aware of like racial backgrounds and kind of we like putting people in boxes or whatever. But I don't think he hasn't had this conversation as much as he's had to have it now in the past. So he's just caught off guard. It's like, oh shit, I got to think about this. And oh shit, people really see me as like a black dude.
Yeah.
You know? And at the end of the day, the 49ers got 3 draft picks for losing your ass. So you're black. That's the rule. That's the rule. Unless the Niners want to give those picks back, buddy, you're welcome to the club.
So shall we go to a comedian now?
Yeah. We can. I think we covered everything we need to cover with old Mike. I'm sure that we'll hear more as the black players on his team are like, "Hey, buddy, guess what? You're one of us."
I wonder how that locker room is going to be.
Yeah, right. I'd love to be a fly on the wall. After a win, they try to make him hit the gritty.
So Dave Chappelle was at a town hall meeting, and by the way, this like Dave Chappelle is such like a fucking interesting millionaire. Because he's like real, like he goes to town hall meetings.
Yeah.
He went back to his alma mater when they were going to name the school after him. And he was like just cussing all the kids out. And it was like, because he was like, it was the funniest shit to me when I read it because no cameras were allowed in. But he went back to his alma mater. And then they're going to name like an auditorium after him or something. And the kids protested. Did not be named after him after the last special with his unique thoughts on the trans community. and then he basically held like a town hall Q&A. He's like, he said, if there are any kids in the student body that have a problem with what I said, please stand up. And then half the student body stood up. And then he said, all right, I'll take questions, but we can't record what happens here. And then they said something, and then apparently one kid said, you know, trans youth kill themselves every day. And then to which he replied, niggas die every day, B.
Yeah, Chappelle, he's like a dude that just like wants to, I don't, to me, he just comes off as a guy who just wants to feel important. So that's why he's showing up to like cuss out 14-year-olds and like be like, oh yeah, I pwned the shit out of this fucking sophomore in this debate. It's like, yeah, he has a history paper due tomorrow, dude. Like, he doesn't know what the opium war is. Like, he's at a disadvantage of going to like these small town halls and like and living in like a ho-dunk town so he can be like, you know, the dude, which like, I'm not saying like, oh, you're like a shitty dude for, you know, wanting to feel big when, you know, you are the most famous comedian on planet Earth, but it's like it's just weird. Like it's like I expect him to show up to like a pee-wee football league and demand to play quarterback. Like it's like these spaces don't need you to function, I guess, is the thing. But yeah, so he shows up to this town hall that is about a housing development.
Affordable housing.
Well, part of it is affordable housing.
Okay.
And this is where
correct,
the
but the media basically the PR firm that the housing development paid, they basically said it was for affordable housing, even though it's $300K, which is not really affordable housing in, you know, Ohio, rural Ohio. But wait, are you mic'd? Can you be mic'd real quick? Okay, never mind. All right, fine.
But there were actually no plans to build that affordable housing. That was an afterthought. It's a large scale, like BlackRock type of large scale land development that wants to build condos.
Right, and that was like the slap on to get the deal done.
Yeah, slap on. And with these types of deals, you don't necessarily even have to build that affordable housing in that neighborhood. It could be in another state.
Right.
And none of that was mapped out. So it was just like, we promise.
Yeah, it's like what the Niners did when they built the new stadium. They were like, we're going to build all these like playgrounds in the area and develop it up, and then they just never did that.
So
yeah, that makes sense. Right, and I think right, and I think this touches on kind of the main point about this story isn't whether or not Dave Chappelle blocked an affordable housing project or blocked a crummy real estate deal that was kind of just as like as a throw on had an affordable housing thing. I think what the story is about is once you do something that, at least in my opinion, is like not particularly acceptable or is a attack on a particular community, everything you do is going to be under a microscope. And so I think this is just every time Dave Chappelle does something, it's going to be looked at. It's going to be a judge of his character in one way or another at this point.
Dave is now the power.
Dave is now the power, and that's also 100% self-inflicted because he decided to step into a domain that he knew nothing about and act like he knew what was sweet, you know?
I mean, but when you say he decided to step into the domain, do you mean talking about trans folks?
Yeah.
You mean
he made a couple of jokes a couple specials ago, right? And the trans community was like, yo, this like isn't particularly cool, dog. And then he decided to make an entire special dedicated to it. So it's like, all right, dude, you've opined yourself as like this as this guy who is gonna, you know, honestly maybe talk a little bit out of your ass. So it's like, yo, people are gonna there's nothing, people do not like a person who sees themselves as smarter than everybody else, and like this is what the deal is, people.
Wait, and get this off because I'm about to do my Dave defense next.
Yeah, sure.
So
yeah, and you know, I'm not like saying whatever Chappelle did with this project is right or wrong, but it's like once you put yourself in the position of like I'm right about everything, and I'm, you know, this intellectual super genius, basically, as he basically said to a room of 14-year-olds. But it's like if you keep doing shit like that, if you keep doing dumb shit, everyone's gonna view everything you do as dumb shit, whether it's justified or not.
That's true.
It's, for me, it's like whatever the details of this are, it doesn't particularly matter. It's like you need to take a chill pill and lay in the fucking cut for a little bit, dude, because if you want this shit to go away, or, you know, he might just like the attention of it all, which is also, you know, more power to you. But, you know, you step into the line of fire, don't be surprised if someone's going to pull the trigger. Like, yeah. So, and then he's like, and that was the other thing. He's like, I'm going to withdraw my business dealings because he's already a landlord in the town. And then he's building a comedy club and I think another housing development. So it's like, so even, and then on top of that, on top of what I just said, it's also just like, you're just a rich guy complaining now. Like, there's nothing particularly compelling.
I mean, with some of Dave's
that.
takes, it is kind of, it's like, yeah, you like this rich Muslim dude from the 80s that, you know,
yeah,
lives on a fucking farm. Like, you gotta, so it's like on one hand, he's like he's gonna say some shit like, because he's Midwest and all that, so he's gonna be like, and we as the historically disenfranchised people ask that you give us a chance and we'll give you one too. You know, and then he'll say some shit like, do they have dicks or pussies? Either way, it's weird.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, it's like, yeah.
We give Trump a chance, but like, not dressed how somebody goes to the bathroom. Like,
yeah. It's like, yo, dude, we're picking the wrong battles here.
You know, but it's like, I say all that to say, like, I understand Dave, I see Dave. Okay, so.
Oh, yeah, it's not, it's.
No, I'm not accusing you
yeah.
of being like, you know, the black dudes on Twitter that have nose rings. They're like, Dave Chappelle's a horrible person. Like,
yeah. Take that blonde streak out of your dreadlocks, dude.
Niggas with frosted tips do be getting the bitches though.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I mean.
And then the Hotep fairy pops up. That's because they look like bitches. Niggas, stay woke. All right. All right. So I don't want to say in defense of Dave because I'm not fully like I've never been to Ohio. I'm never probably gonna go. But
All-Star Games there this year.
Oh yeah. You need a mic at this point, nigga. Like, you butt in like 8 times. Like, just get a fucking mic at this point. Okay, but I'm just saying, I've listened to the audio back. We can't hear you the same. All right, cool. All right.
Yeah.
But he's proposing single family homes, whereas this other proposal is like we want duplexes and condos
Right.
and commercial.
Yeah, well then, like I said, if the plan, the point of it is not the specific minutia rather of this housing development and what the implications were for the city he lives in. It's more that Dave has a habit of just interjecting himself in every single issue that he possibly can. And whether or not your opinion is right, when you've already kind of put yourself in the doghouse, people are going to find opportunities to pile on however you want. Whether or not that's fair, I'm not going to say. I'm just saying that's how we treat people.
That's true. That's true. I will say also for Yellow Springs, the thing that I've read and heard, and from people that have been there, and from comedians that like are actually friends with Dave, is that Yellow Springs is like a village, and Dave has described it as like a Bernie Sanders island in a MAGA sea.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we want this to stay like our little village. It's like a one-stoplight town. And this thing of like all these other types of people come in here, you're going to have more than conservatives. It's not going to be, because it's like us not having that shit is what keeps Ohio a swing state. Mm-hmm. So then you have these people in here, we become less swingy,
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair point.
Yeah. And I mean, and it's like the thing with a guy like Dave is, I think it's always good for the culture, or because it's February, let's just say what I mean. It's good for black people when you have reckless talking niggas, when you have reckless speaking black men, like as he said, like, I want my kids to understand what reckless talk sounds like. When he was at the Kennedy Center getting his awards, he popped up at the town hall meeting. He was like, I was incensed. $65 million. Come on. But like the thing though that
you add like 5 extra menthol packs to your impression. It's good.
It's like the different eras of Dave though, because it's like there's like the Dave we knew on Chappelle's show, like couldn't believe it. It's Wu-Tang, niggas crazy. For some reason, he wanted to shake my hand. Like, Dave, and like that was that Dave, and then now Dave is like he'll say some historical shit and be like, "There was once a man by the name of Thomas Jefferson." What a lot of people don't know is he had slaves. But what they may or may not know, he fucked and impregnated a lot of them.
Yeah.
That's where they got all those wigs from, all those presidents.
Spot on.
Thank you. All right. Enough stand up. I can tell Matt was getting a little annoyed. He was like, Lyall's just doing his fucking act now.
What else is this for but to do our bits and to work out material, honestly?
Yeah.
You don't think I'm going to talk about Mike McDaniel on my act for the next month? It's literally just, what if I was the head coach of a football team? Like, some dude who never touched a gridiron in his life, but likes the schemes. And my dad is black.
So that's one thing I gather with Dave. But no, I mean, I think it's I mean, by the way, this is like, I feel like if you black, this is like Dave Chappelle is a great test to see what your world is like. Because like if you talk because like I look at the people in my life and how they feel about Dave Chappelle. In the barbershop, I don't know why people tripping. That nigga just told the truth. Like, it wasn't a funny special. It was better than that Kevin Hart shit. It's like, by the way, you do comedy. What you think of Kevin Hart? It's like cutting your hair.
Right.
But it's like, it's that. And then people in my family are like, yeah, Dave talking that shit. And then people obviously in comedy, but then even like some of my white and other friends will be like, I think Dave, he's got some opinions. And I just think, even they don't talk like that, but their spirit feels like that. Mm-hmm. And he's got some stuff, and I think it's just a little problematic. I think he's a little out of touch. And I think Dave is I don't want to say find out if people in your life are like transphobic or not. All right.
It's certainly a barometer. Do we want to?
Yeah. Last thing.
Our good friend.
So UFC fighter. What's his, I can't.
I forget his last name. Israel's
Shinadu Inaka. No, I'm just
Oh God. He will never listen to this. So.
No, he won't. That's why I said that. No, so it's this African fighter. Matt texted me his name. Israel Adesanya dancing address. No, it's Israel.
This is why it's always funny when people get mad at white people for not being able to pronounce like ethnic names. It's like black people, we can't pronounce that shit either.
No!
We just don't do a lot of roll calls.
Black people. Are you trying to say that brothers don't be going to school, Matt?
I'm saying that we don't teach 5th grade classes where it will traumatize some kid.
Yo, niggas be fucking up my name. Is it Lydell? Where's the D, nigga? Like, Leroy, where's the E?
I've been Matthew Duquette for many Black Student Union meetings.
That shit sounds kind of hard.
It does. It does. Queegge.
So it's this. Anyways, it's this UFC fighter. He's African. Kind of sounds British. Whatever. He's at the thing. They're like, so what do you think about the whole Joe Rogan thing? And of course, room full of white people in Vegas, UFC. They're like, boo, 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 right? And then he's like, all right, I'm gonna handle this. All right, it's a lot of cunts. It's a lot of, it's a lot of like types of people. But I'm saying Joe Rogan is a fucking good guy. And they're like, yeah. And it's like, man, he is super Conan during Black History.
Yeah, well, I mean, even more so. You saw what he ended the tirade with, right?
No.
Oh, he literally said. He literally said Joe Rogan's my nigga.
Oh my God, that's worse than when Don King said that shit about Donald Trump.
He full on cooned. He full speed Sly Cooper on the PS2. It's like, yo, come on, man. Also, 2 N-words for me this podcast. That's got to be a record.
Let's get you some.
Sorry, Dad.
Get you that Hennessy and Coke finally. Now.
Yeah, right.
I'll text you.
Yeah.
No, but all right. I was about to say some controversial things about Africans. Yeah, I mean, how do we end this month? How do we end Black History Month on a good note after like having somebody from the motherland just coon that hard?
I don't know, man. Yeah, we really dug a hole for ourselves. It's yeah.
Oh, I got a question though.
We need a black dude to win like the WWE championship. If we wanted to go.
I got a question for you though about that moment. Room full of white people and they're booing. Obviously, Israel could fuck all those people in the crowd up.
Yeah.
But they're all fucking booing. We're like, ooh. How much of that was him performing and him just wanting to be like, no, I want these people on my side?
Oh, it was. I mean, the N-word line was 100% just wanting people to buy his pay-per-view more and like wanting them to root for him. It was. I'd say that was like 75% publicity stunt, 25% like, yeah, I like Joe Rogan.
But ultimately, he probably doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, he wanted them white boys on his side.
Yeah. I mean, niggas that can whip anybody's ass don't really care what somebody says. It's like, well,
yeah.
Joe Rogan ain't saying nigger in front of my face.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, he wanted those extra buys for sure.
All right.
Well,
that's been our show. Shout us out, Matt Duckett. Shout us out, Podexa team, and we will be back next week. There we go. We did it, Brooklyn. We did it. 20 seconds.